Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, another day, another freaking pair of ASICs. This time we have two mid-tier Alephium ASICs, which is something we've been waiting for. We have one coming from a weird one. We have one coming from DragonBall. This is going to be the A40, as well as now GoldShell, and it's the next in line in the Echo series, the E-AL1M. We do have the official specs now. We do have prices. We'll see how they compare. We'll see how they stack up. See if these things are worthwhile. And just give our overall thoughts and opinions on these and what to expect in the future, right? So, if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So, the Dragon Ball, this is their iteration of it. So, this is the A40, right, which is not the A11. We did see that dual mining one, which did RXD and Alephium, which was interesting. So, it kind of gave us the insight that probably going to do an Alephium one here pretty soon. And they did, in fact, right? So, it's a lot cheaper. This is now 3.3 terahash, 1600 watts. So, again, it's right in that mid tier. $5,280. So the resellers have it between 5 and 5.5K. So just eyeballing it, immediately it's not as efficient as the competition, right? Even the less efficient GoldShell units, it's not as efficient as those. So right off the rip, not too appealing. Random manufacturer that's not proven, also not appealing. And then even that price point, right? So this one had its day in the sun for about 2 days, right? The A11, we know it got wrecked in 24 hours by Ice River. This one lasted about 2 days, and this one is officially getting wrecked by who? By GoldShell of all people, right? So it's not even worth looking at the profitability for this thing, because if you're interested in a mid-tier unit in this price range, you might as well spend $1,000 more bucks and get a way more superior unit from an arguably more reliable manufacturer, okay? So this is from GoldShell, the E-AL1M, 4.4 terahash at 1800 watts, 6,600 bucks. So again, just eyeballing it, 1.1 terahash more than the Dragon Ball unit for only 200 more watts, right? So all day, just efficiency is better, pricing is better, and it's just going to be something that's more reliable, okay? So immediately, this guy is now obsolete, just like the A11. So RIP to Dragon Ball in this case, right? Which they got wrecked in the Caspa series. And they're just continuing to get wrecked. Is it deserved because of what they did with Radiant? It's up to you to determine there. But at the end of the day, both of these, 100% not worth it, right? So now let's look at the GoldShell unit a little bit closer, because this one now becomes more appealing. Okay, so to me, the biggest downfall is this Echo series is the wattage, right? We explained our frustration with the previous unit, but again, it's the fact that it's 1800 watts. Yes, they do have a low power mode that it's 1100 watts, and it's 3 terahash, which if those were the full specs, it would have been massively more appealing at a lower price. The issue with even mentioning that portion is that at the end of the day, you're paying for those extra chips for this 4.4 terahash. What they really should have done, less chips in here, which would have reduced the price, get as close to this range as possible. That 1,000 and 1,200 watt range would have appealed to so many more people, right? Because at this point, it's now not a little at-home miner, at least for people in North America, which is a big part of the market. Now, because it's 1,800 watts, now you're competing against the big boys, right? And at that wattage and at those prices, it just does not compare. The efficiency, or the lack of efficiency, I should say, stands out a lot more at that point, okay? So this guy's more appealing, right? Dragon Ball, we can pretty much cut that head off. Now this guy, let's compare this guy, see how this guy stacks up. Easiest comparisons are to the main competitors, right? Which are on both ends of the spectrum, right? The Bitmain unit, the AL1, let's do that one first. Easy math, we're not going to do exact math, just napkin math here, okay? AL1, easiest comparison, we could do it to the Pro unit just because it scales in a little bit better. 16.6 terahash, 3,730 watts. So again, just easy eyeballing it. It's about 4 of these guys. It would bring you about to 17.6, so it would be more hash rate there. Price-wise, be in the $26,000 range for about 4 of these guys. So immediately, just looking at those two things, kind of has something going for it until you look at the wattage, right? So price discounted, getting more hash rate. The problem is the efficiency, which stands out when you scale upwards. It just magnifies it. Now at this point, it'd be 7,200 watts. Again, now you're multiplying that wattage by 4 also. So big old difference. So it's not exactly twice the efficiency or half the efficiency of the AL1, but it's pretty damn close. Okay, so that's where the downfall would be. And for a discount of like 5-6K at that point, like a 20% discount, to me, it's not enough. It's not worth it at that point. When we're comparing it to that guy, realistically, just pricing wise, in order to even remotely start considering it, just looking a little bit deeper, it should have been priced under 5K. Okay, realistically, arguably should be way lower. But even just to begin comparing it, if it would have been at 5K, because at that point, 4 of them brings you to 20K. So 20K to the 30K kind of makes a little bit more sense at that point. Does it really though? Not really, but it would make more sense at that point. Okay, so that extra price at that point, comparing it to the AL1, no go. Okay. Now let's go on the lower end. Let's compare it to the AL0, which again has similar efficiency to the AL1. It's within 10%, so it's very close. And again, it is going to be a standout, but when you scale downwards, again, on the small at-home miners, that's what I'm saying, the efficiency is a big deal, because percentage-wise, it still is a big difference, but is it really? Right? So when we compare it to the AL0, just eyeballing it, 4.4 terahash, you would need 11 of the AL0s. It would bring you to 4.4, but at only 1100 watts versus the 1800 with the EAL1M. 700 watts, yes, it's a big deal, especially percentage-wise, but is it really though? Right? So that's where you had to kind of like weigh in your options, because it is discounted at this point now, because again, 11 of these guys would bring you to like the $8,800 range. So $8,800 versus the $6,600 makes a little more sense when you compare it in that sense. Again, the issue, they should have just priced it more aggressively. It's that lack of efficiency. That efficiency difference is the deal breaker here. So just depending on your electric situation, maybe you have freaking 2-cent power and you can care less, then this guy could be more appealing. Right? But the problem to me, again, if they would have priced this thing, because even comparing it down on this end, if it would have been priced at 5K, pretty big standout, right? That does at that point make it massively more appealing. Okay. The reason they're probably not going to though anytime soon is because of the current profitability, right? When you go to a profitability chart, it would be making 30 bucks a day, although realistically, we know it's going to go down, especially if a decent mid-tier unit comes out. Okay, so if you look at the profitability and look at it at that point, that's the reason why I kind of see their viewpoint. But again, realistically, if they wanted to be more aggressive, which they should be, that's where the pricing should have been. Is the 6,600 the worst thing in the world, though, especially compared to what they have released? No. I mean, it's crazy to think that that was the price literally a few weeks ago for the AL Box 2. Literally weeks ago, right? It was 6K. Crazy to think that something massively more powerful is the same price, right? But that's just because they overpriced that thing to all hell, and now here we are. So now we're comparing it on the low end, we're comparing it on the high end. We kind of see not the worst thing in the world until you realize that it's extremely likely that what's going to happen from here now. These damn IC boys are probably going to release a unit. Okay, and this is where, again, the strategy comes in. This is why we pay attention to all these releases, because you have to put your mindset and view the market from the manufacturer's perspective. What are they likely to do next? Okay, because again, them damn IC boys, they like to price aggressively. Currently, they only have AL0, so we know they have the chips. We know that they are massively more efficient than the GoldShell units. We know that they price aggressively. We know that it's extremely likely that they will be releasing another unit. Now, the question will be is, what will that next unit be? Or will it be multiple units at once? Right? To me, it makes the most sense. Like if I'm Ice River, I'm putting my Ice River hat on and I'm looking at it from their perspective. The next in line would be a mid-tier unit. Reason being is because if they were to release a mid-tier unit here, they could theoretically, with just that one unit, wreck all of them at once. Okay, so again, it's extremely likely they could do one of two things, either a mid-tier unit or a high-end unit. The high-end unit, depending on the price point, is definitely most likely they're going to go aggressively after Bitmain, just like they did with Caspa, right? So they're going to price it aggressively. We know that efficiency's on par, so maybe they'll come in at like 22K, 21K, and it's going to dissuade anybody from buying the AL1. Okay, the issue with that unit though would be is that who the hell wants to spend 20K on an ASIC in this market? Some people will, or again, just like we saw people purchase the AL1, people will purchase in that price range, as crazy as it sounds. If they release a mid-tier unit though, something priced between 4 to 6K, 4 to 7K, somewhere in that range, on par with the efficiency, that will immediately appeal to a wider range of people, including people like myself, right? Would I spend 20K on a unit? Hell to the no. Would I potentially spend 4 to 6K on a unit? Potentially, if the specs make sense. Okay? And this is where, in my opinion, that's what makes the most sense, right? If they were to release a mid-tier unit with their same efficient chips, they could wreck this GoldShell, which already wrecked the DragonBalls, right? So you'd wreck both of them. And they could still wreck the AL1 because if it's priced aggressively, people will just buy multiples of that mid-tier unit. Okay, so theoretically, with that single release, they can wreck all of them at once. Okay, what's most likely is that they're going to release a mid and a high, but we don't know, right? We are just speculating. Maybe it's just the AL0 and a high-end Alephium unit. We don't know. But just based on the fact that it's extremely likely that that's going to happen, that alone would dissuade me from buying either one of these units, right? So immediately the DragonBall's next. The GoldShell unit, I would not consider, even if it was priced aggressively, even if they did come in at that 5K price point, I would not consider because, again, it's just so likely from what we've seen in the past strategically that Ice River will release something aggressively here. Okay, so what it'll be, if anything at all, right? Maybe we're just speculating and 3-4 months go by and they still don't release a damn thing. That's also possible. But just the fact that it's so likely, that would dissuade me from purchasing this thing until we see what happens here. Right? But again, strategically, what makes the most sense to me at least, mid-tier unit, let people buy it, because if they release an aggressively priced mid-tier unit, what's going to happen? People will be buying it. The hash rate will go up. Profitability may or may not go up or down, right? The yield will go down definitely. Fiat profitability, it's really hard to say because if the cycle plays out like it normally does, October, November are typically pretty good months, so we may pump there, right? So the yield will definitely go down. Fiat profitability may stay up because of that, right? So we don't know to that extent. We do know that the yield will go down though, which again is my main focus. That's why I say do not look at the fiat profitability, look at your yield. Okay, so because of that, what makes the most sense is for them to do that mid-tier unit, let the hash rate settle, see where the market goes, and then if things do get sluggish, they do get rough, maybe we don't pump in October, November, maybe we do go in full recession mode, see how the playing field is now, and then release your bigger unit, right? So to me, strategically, that's what would make the most sense. Will they, won't they? We don't know. We don't know if they're even going to release anything else. But to me, it's just the likelihood of it is just extremely high here, right? So for that reason alone, I would wait just to see what the IC boys do, if they do anything at all, right? So for those reasons, extremely high risk here. Again, for the little 0 units or even the little box units, for $1,000 under, even the GoldShell units, they're not too bad. Right? The problem is once you're spending this kind of cash and it gets cut in half, then it sucks. Right? Or if another unit comes out beating this price point with double the efficiency, because again, we know it's going to have this efficiency. So we know it's going to beat it out in the efficiency market. We know that it's likely also to beat it out just in the price per hash market, right? So I would highly recommend waiting to see if they do anything, which they may not even do anything, right? So this is what makes it very hard. Again, even if this guy did come in priced aggressively, I still wouldn't do it because I would wait to see what they're going to do here. Because as we have seen, they are likely to control the market yet again, right? Which has been, you know, Caspa was a crazy story, right? But Ice River was also. It's crazy that this no-name manufacturer in under a year made freaking Bitmain bend the knee on that KS3 crazy price, forced them to cut extremely drastically because they came in so aggressively. And then what's even crazier, they made them do it again with the freaking KS5. Okay, crazy impressive story that's likely to repeat, right? Again, if they release even just a mid-tier unit, very likely, whether it's a mid-tier or high-tier unit, probably going to make them bend the knee and freaking lower this price again, right? It's been crazy. They've been controlling the pricing market. Again, it's crazy to say that a manufacturer this new to the game has taken control of the pricing, right? Leaving everybody else in the dust, and potentially right here, right now, they, by strategically waiting and not announcing their bigger units, they have the opportunity to release that mid-tier unit and wreck all these bad boys, right? So it's crazy to see what happens, but I mean, putting the Ice River hat on and looking at it from the manufacturer, that's what I would be doing, right? So that's what I would expect to potentially happen. Will it, won't it? We don't know. Again, like I mentioned, we may go freaking 3-4 months and not see anything, or we may make it 12 hours and tomorrow morning they announce their unit. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. But I would definitely be waiting for these damn icy boys to take control of the market like they've shown they will do over and over again. Right? So for those reasons, it's not even worth doing a calculation of the hash rate and seeing how it's going to affect and looking at the profitability of this guy, because in my opinion, it's just extremely likely that Ice River is going to wreck them. Right? So we're going to have to wait and see. Maybe it happens tomorrow or the next day. Maybe it doesn't. I would definitely be waiting. Let me know what you guys think, though. Are you guys in the same boat? Would you guys be waiting? Do you guys think the Icy Boys are going to do a repeat of what they've been doing? Or are they going to relax? Possibility here that they also take a chill pill for a month and see if this cycle plays out and we start pumping in October, November. And maybe then they release them because they know they can sell them for more. It's also a possibility. Right? So it's a lot of strategy that can go any given way, but this is why it's important to look at these things, look at the pricing, look at the strategy, try to be forward thinking, try to make your own predictions, look at where the market would be, look at what would you do if you are running the company, right? Because most likely that's what's probably going to happen, right? As we've seen for this whole time. Okay, but let me know in the comments, guys, what do you guys think? It's a rough one, right? Let me know again what you guys think, though. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I am out.